these connections, these relationships that are founded in the earliest years of our lives.
Without fanfare, without warning, Princess Catherine walked away from the palace, and the world hasn't stopped asking why. The announcement never came. Instead, one morning her presence simply ceased. The palace issued no detailed statement, leaving aides scrambling to explain an absence they could not define. Shock rippled through staff and public alike. How could someone so central vanish without a trace? Confusion reigned as whispers spread. What prompted this abrupt exit? Speculation focused quickly on a secret ultimatum, supposedly delivered behind closed doors. Rumors claimed demands that would strip Catherine of personal autonomy or force unbearable sacrifices. No confirmation emerged, only intensifying silence. Catherine neither denied nor confirmed. She stepped back and let absence speak. Theories abounded. A health crisis kept hidden, mental exhaustion under relentless scrutiny, or betrayal within palace ranks. Each suggestion carried its own dread, but none offered clarity, only more questions. Inside the institution, the tension between duty and human limits surfaced openly for the first time. Traditionalists worried over protocol and continuity. Modern voices empathized with Catherine's need for self-preservation. The clash had always simmered quietly, but her departure forced it into the open. Can a system rooted in centuries of expectation adapt when its most visible member refuses to be consumed? In weighing tradition against personal well-being, the palace found itself vulnerable, exposed by the void she left behind. Public reaction mirrored that struggle. Admirers hailed Catherine's courage to choose herself over an unending role. Critics labeled retreat as weakness or betrayal of the monarchy. Yet many saw a deeper meaning. Her silence challenged assumptions that duty must override personal limits. In stepping away, she reframed the narrative from a princess defined by obligations to a woman asserting boundaries. That single act resonated. It revealed hidden burdens, long carried in private, and forced an institution to confront its demands on individuals. Silence became Catherine's boldest statement. By refusing the expected grand announcement or fiery declaration, she underscored the gravity of unspoken struggles. Her absence cut straight to the core. If the crown demands everything, what remains for the wearer? The unanswered questions weighed more than any official explanation could. As speculation roared, the most profound point emerged. This was not just about one person leaving. It was about an age-old system confronted by the limits of human endurance. In that choice lay both a challenge and a lesson for the monarchy. To understand why she walked away, we must go back to the beginning of a woman who never asked for the crown, but carried it anyway. Before she was a princess, she was simply Kate from Bucklebury, far from thrones and tiaras. She spent childhood afternoons helping with ordinary tasks, tidying rooms, running errands with family, sharing meals around a kitchen table that valued kindness over pedigree. In that humble setting, she learned resilience and empathy. Friendships were grounded in genuine connection, not status. These early lessons forged a quiet confidence, a belief that true worth lay in actions, not titles. That sense of self would later become her anchor amid upheaval. Entering Marlborough introduced prestige and new pressures, yet she navigated them with poise. Surrounded by tradition and expectation, she carried the memory of open fields and unguarded laughter. Rather than chasing attention, she observed and listened, allowing her grounded nature to guide interactions. Friendships formed in common interests, not social climbing. This period reinforced adaptability. She learned to move through different worlds without losing sight of her core values. Each challenge honed her composure, readying her for a future no one could imagine. At the University of St. Andrews, calm presence and quiet resolve set her apart. Amid lectures and study sessions, she met William. Their early exchanges were unremarkable. Shared jokes over coffee, collaborative notes in quiet corners, conversations about books and ambitions. Neither anticipated the friendship's gravity. Yet as trust grew, the connection deepened organically. They found comfort in each other's company, two individuals valuing sincerity more than spectacle. When their bond shifted toward love, it did so softly, without fanfare, even as destiny waited in the wings. Once their relationship became known, media obsession arrived swiftly. Paparazzi traced her steps from lecture halls to cafe tables. Headlines dissected every outfit choice, every gesture, comparing her incessantly to a legacy she had never sought. The comparisons to Diana surfaced early, layering her newfound public identity with heavy expectations. She neither embraced nor rejected these parallels outright. Instead, she met scrutiny with measured grace. Each intrusive headline tested her reserve, yet she maintained composure by recalling lessons from Bucklebury. Authenticity mattered more than appearance. As love blossomed under relentless attention, the true challenge emerged, balancing genuine affection with an evolving public role. Private jokes risked becoming tabloid fodder. Casual outings morphed into staged events. Yet within this tension lay a partnership rooted in respect. William valued her steadiness. She found purpose in supporting his path. Their shared values, service, integrity, and empathy provided a foundation amid swirling speculation. Still, the transformation from ordinary student to figure of global fascination underscored a stark reality. Personal connection alone could not shield them from duty's demands. In embracing this journey, she drew on her upbringing, choosing sincerity over spectacle, prioritizing substance over image. Her transformation carried both promise and peril, revealing that even the most authentic bond must withstand sacrifice, scrutiny, and survival in the royal spotlight. But love in the royal spotlight is never just about love, it's about sacrifice, scrutiny, and survival. She married into royalty with a smile, unaware of the invisible chains waiting at the altar. The day of the wedding unfolded like a fever dream. Cheers echoing through streets, every flag and flower arranged to celebrate a union that seemed destined. Yet beneath the petals and applause lay a pact far heavier than any public promise. In that moment, Catherine traded one life for another. The informal rhythms of Bucklebury replaced by gilded halls, casual mornings swapped for rehearsed appearances. The nation watched, enthralled by fairy tale romance, unaware that the fairy tale carried a hidden price, a price paid in every step she would take thereafter. As Duchess of Cambridge, she entered a world governed by expectations, so exacting they felt carved in stone. From the moment she accepted the ring, her laughter at private jokes became subject to debate. A single smile dissected for genuine warmth or calculated grace. The transformation was instant. Friends became courtiers, spontaneous outings became scheduled engagements, and every gesture required calibration. The public demanded perfection, enforced silence, and rewarded conformity. Any misstep, however small, risked harsh scrutiny. In this new reality, the simple act of breathing felt laden with obligation. Learning royal rules became a daily endeavor. How to speak with measured candor yet reveal nothing too personal. How to stand so that posture communicated dignity rather than detachment. How to smile just enough to reassure without betraying fatigue. Each action required awareness of invisible cameras and unseen critics. Private conversations shifted into coded language. Candid moments were sacrificed to protocol. The lessons offered no comfort, only guidelines for survival. In mastering these rites, she gained influence but lost spontaneity. The polished veneer of duty hid the friction beneath, where personal desire collided with inherited tradition. Under that relentless microscope, there was no true privacy, only performance. A walk in the park required strategic timing. A family dinner risked exposure. Even laughter among loved ones could be recast as headline fodder. The dual identity emerged sharply. Outwardly, the poised princess fulfilling a role centuries in the making. Inwardly, a woman grappling with suppressed yearnings and silent doubts. Every accolade carried a reminder of sacrifice. Every charitable triumph concealed moments of loneliness. The crown that shone so brilliantly also bound her to expectations she had not anticipated when love first bloomed. Success and suffering intertwined in a delicate, painful dance. Behind the palatial smiles, Catherine's quiet unraveling had already begun and no one noticed. She wasn't just tired. She wasn't just stressed. Catherine was sick and no one knew. For weeks, her absence from public engagements went unexplained, fueling questions that echoed in every headline. Rumors swirled, a hidden crisis, a breakdown under relentless pressure. The mystery deepened until a single video message slipped through controlled channels. Her voice, quiet yet firm, confessed a truth too heavy to conceal. A cancer diagnosis, treatment already underway in private. Those few lines carried heartbreak and resolve, collapsing assumptions and demanding empathy where speculation had reigned. The revelation landed like a shockwave. Support poured in from around the world, messages, flowers, prayers, transforming curiosity into collective concern. Media outlets that once dissected her wardrobe and statements shifted tone, acknowledging the cost of intrusion. Apologies followed for relentless scrutiny, as if the glare of cameras had contributed to her secrecy. In this outpouring, she found an unexpected solidarity. Strangers moved by her vulnerability, united in recognizing that titles could not shield against human fragility. With treatment occupying her days, withdrawal from royal duties became not a choice, but a necessity. Appearances once unmissable fell away, replaced by rest and medical care. Every postponed event signaled a boundary drawn firmly around her well-being. The institution, accustomed to certainty and schedules, now navigated uncertainty and compassion. In stepping back, she reclaimed authority over her narrative. Absence itself became a statement. Rather than uphold an unshakable facade, she prioritized healing, demonstrating that even the most scrutinized life could assert privacy and self-care. Through silence and honesty, Catherine redefined her voice. She shared reflections sparingly acknowledging fear without dramatizing pain. Her restrained candor resonated more powerfully than any polished speech. In admitting vulnerability, she revealed strength, confronting illness publicly on her own terms, refusing to let protocol dictate every word. This choice rippled beyond personal struggle, offering hope to those facing hidden battles. She became a symbol not of invulnerability, but of courage in embracing truth despite consequences. Her condition also unsettled the monarchy's rhythms. The structure that relied on her presence had to adapt. Responsibilities shifted, calendars rearranged, roles reimagined. Advisors balanced transparency with discretion, mindful that too much detail risked invasion, yet too little risked mistrust. The episode challenged long-held practices. Could an institution built on continuity accommodate a member's need for retreat? In navigating this tension, the palace confronted a new paradigm where compassion could outweigh ceremonial demands. Amid these changes, Catherine's personal journey mirrored broader themes: conflict between duty and health, identity beyond public image, and the power of honest vulnerability. Her struggle resonated widely, reminding audiences that even figures of privilege face universal fears. As treatment continued away from the glare, the narrative shifted from speculation to solidarity. Her resilience underlined that stepping back need not signal defeat, but a profound assertion of value, life and well-being above all. But her illness wasn't just personal, it disrupted the very structure of the monarchy. While Catherine fought her own battle, the palace was waging one of its own. Behind those closed doors, tensions simmered between voices craving progress and guardians of unbroken tradition. William and Catherine had quietly advocated for a monarchy that resonated with a changing world, greater openness, causes that spoke to younger generations, a more relatable public image. Yet each suggestion met polite resistance from elder royals determined to uphold centuries-old rituals. Meetings meant to refine strategy often felt like standoffs, with progressive proposals countered by concerns that any deviation would unravel the delicate fabric of authority. In whispered conversations among aides, there was a sense that the very soul of the institution was at stake. Amid shifting alliances, Queen Camilla's relationship with Catherine grew noticeably distant. Courtiers observed subtle changes. Cordial greetings reduced to formal nods, seating choices that hinted at an uneasy hierarchy. Hushed murmurs about conflicting priorities. Insiders speculated that Camilla saw Catherine's influence as encroaching on her own sphere, breeding resentment beneath the veneer of courtesy. This undercurrent of tension extended to discussions over public engagements and messaging, each proposal scrutinized not just for its merit, but for its implication of shifting power. Staff felt the strain, caught between loyalty to tradition and the push for relevance. Morale wavered as uncertainty spread. Would those who championed evolution prevail, or would the weight of precedent quell any bold move? The specter of Harry and Meghan's departure loomed large, reopening old wounds and fueling anxiety. Their exit had already exposed fault lines, but now fractures deepened as Catherine's own crisis unfolded alongside internal disputes. Conversations that once centered on ceremonial details turned urgent. How to present unity when private discord threatened to spill out. How to reassure the public amid murmurs of discord and weakening morale. For modernizers, adaptation was imperative. For traditionalists, hastening change risked alienating loyal supporters. Each camp believed it safeguarded the monarchy's future, yet their clash amplified a shared fear. If the institution faltered now, the very concept of royalty could lose its meaning. Every delayed announcement, every ambiguous statement took on new weight, signaling not just protocol, but the battle beneath the surface. As Catherine navigated her health crisis, the palace's internal struggles reached a critical point. Responsibilities shifted unevenly, schedules adjusted on the fly, and advisors wrestled with balancing transparency against discretion. The machinery that once ran with clockwork precision now creaked under conflicting directives. Even routine matters felt laden with hidden significance. In that atmosphere of unease, the fragility of an institution built on continuity became starkly apparent. Loyalties were tested, and alliances reformed in quiet council rooms. When the moment arrived, that forced a decisive choice between upholding tradition at all costs or embracing change despite risks that resolution would reverberate far beyond palace walls. And then came the final decision, the one that changed everything. A quiet conversation, a private demand, a final straw. And just like that, she walked away. Rumors say the palace presented an ultimatum: resume every public duty immediately or accept permanent withdrawal. None of us know exactly what was said, only that it left no room for her illness or personal needs. Faced with an unspoken threat to her health and family, she chose to step back, rather than compromise what mattered most. Her exit was understated. No heated press release, no dramatic protest, just a clear decision communicated in private circles. When engagements were quietly reassigned, it became obvious. She would not return on the old terms. In that absence lay a bold statement that personal well-being could outweigh centuries of expectation. The palace, unprepared for such resolve, scrambled to maintain appearances, but every reassigned event underscored the gap she left behind. The public reaction was immediate. Headlines alternated between concern and confusion, while social media buzzed with support and criticism. Some praised her courage to prioritize family and health. Others saw retreat as betrayal of duty. Yet beneath the noise, many recognized a simple truth: a person's limits matter, no matter the role. Her choice forced a broader conversation about what the monarchy demands and what individuals can realistically give. Inside, the impact was deeper. King Charles, already managing his own health challenges, faced fresh uncertainty. A daughter-in-law's departure felt personal and institutional. William was caught between duty and devotion, needing to uphold continuity while protecting his wife and children. His position shifted overnight from partner to mediator, juggling public responsibilities with private care. This dual burden highlighted how rigid expectations can fracture even the strongest bonds. By prioritizing her health, Catherine changed how power works. Without public arguments or confrontations, she demonstrated influence through absence. The palace's reaction, hastily drafted statements and redistributed duties, revealed an institution struggling to adapt. Her departure raised a critical question. Can the monarchy accommodate genuine human limits, or must it risk further strain by insisting on unwavering service? The answer would shape its future. Her choice also resonated beyond royal circles. People facing their own pressures saw a reflection of their struggle. Sometimes stepping back is not failure, but a necessary act of self-preservation. In walking away, she modeled that even high-profile roles cannot override personal well-being. That reality felt both unsettling and liberating. Unsettling because it challenged deeply held norms, liberating because it affirmed the value of health and family over protocol. The moment she left marked a turning point. It exposed tensions between tradition and humanity in the palace, and prompted public debate on expectations placed on individuals in any demanding role. Her silent departure spoke louder than any speech, and then the question remained: but where did she go? And what did she find beyond the palace walls? Not a palace, not a castle, just a home with no expectations, only peace. In choosing Adelaide Cottage, Catherine traded gilded halls for quiet walls. This modest Windsor retreat held no grand ceremonies, no endless protocol, only the promise of normal mornings and unguarded evenings. The cottage's history as a refuge for Queen Adelaide lent a quiet symbolism. Strength found in simplicity, resilience nurtured by calm. Here, she could breathe without the weight of expectation pressing on every gesture. Each day began not with public fanfare but with familiar routines. Children's laughter echoing through small rooms, shared breakfasts unrecorded by cameras, the soft pace of life unhurried by royal schedules. Free from constant security detail and intrusive lenses, Catherine discovered space to heal. Walks along private paths felt like small rebellions. Fresh air replacing staged appearances, genuine smiles replacing practiced ones. William stood firmly beside her, arranging his duties around family time rather than forcing her back into relentless public view. Their partnership shifted focus from image to intimacy. Bedtime stories without photographers, casual conversations over tea, moments of quiet support when treatment weariness threatened hope. In those unvarnished interactions, they rebuilt bonds strained by past demands. Family healing unfolded subtly, each shared smile, a reminder that connection matters more than ceremony. The media response reflected newfound restraint. Reporters accustomed to chasing every detail now paused, sensing the boundary she had set. Coverage shifted tone, from intrusive speculation to respectful distance, acknowledging that some stories need silence to allow recovery. Headlines celebrated small updates rather than conjecture, offering space rather than pressure. This change signaled a broader lesson. Even high-profile lives deserve private sanctuaries. Public interest remained, but compassion edged out sensationalism. In that shift, Catherine's influence extended beyond her own healing. She reshaped expectations for celebrity and royalty alike, showing that stepping back could command respect as powerfully as any grand appearance. Through this refuge, Catherine sent a subtle but clear message. True strength lies in setting boundaries. By choosing a modest home over palatial grandeur, she demonstrated that well-being outweighs spectacle. Her absence from high-profile events resonated. It spoke of prioritizing health, family, and authenticity. Yet even here, in healing quiet, her impact lingered. Conversations about the monarchy's future circulated in her wake. Could the institution adapt to value personal limits? Would other royals follow her example when faced with their own struggles? The cottage offered peace, but also underscored a truth. In the hush of everyday life, her absence echoed louder than her presence ever did. The crown remains, but without its quietest jewel, it trembles. In the aftermath of her withdrawal, ordinary conversations turned to doubt. If the person who bridged royalty and everyday life could step back, what purpose did the institution truly serve? Across social media and local cafes, people weighed tradition against relevance, questioning whether age-old ceremonies still mattered in a world that had seen one of its brightest figures claim personal limits over public duty. This collective unease exposed deeper uncertainty. A monarchy that once relied on stability now faced skepticism about its future, without the warmth she embodied. Inside the family, attempts to fill the gap only highlighted how distinctive her role had been. Anne and Sophie assumed engagements once tied to Catherine's presence, addressing charities and appearing at events in her stead. Their dedication was genuine, yet each appearance underscored the missing connection she offered. An ease under scrutiny, an ability to make formal occasions feel personal. Protocol could assign tasks, but it could not replicate the simple empathy she showed. The contrast between earnest effort and the void it revealed underscored a central truth. Certain bonds cannot be replaced by duty alone. For William, the weight doubled. As heir apparent, he was expected to project unwavering continuity. As husband and father, he had to guard his family's well-being. Balancing official duties with private care became a daily struggle. Every smile he offered in public carried the memory of shared moments now paused, and every speech held the unspoken question of whether tradition should bow to personal need. In that tension lay a raw vulnerability, a leader wrestling with the demands of lineage while protecting the heart of his household. His burden embodied the broader conflict between institutional expectation and human limits. Meanwhile, Camilla's influence grew in quiet ways. Experienced in palace dynamics, she navigated responsibilities with practiced composure. Yet public sentiment often leaned toward Catherine's choice, viewing her decision to prioritize health and family as a courageous stand. That sympathy complicated the balance. Should the monarchy lean on established authority, or adapt to a model where setting personal boundaries became acceptable? This contrast fueled debates about leadership and legitimacy, exposing how empathy could challenge convention. The tension between enduring protocol and evolving expectations underscored a pivotal moment. Would the institution honor personal well-being or risk alienation by demanding unyielding service? Her legacy crystallized in these shifts. Through grace and restraint, she had shown that strength can mean stepping back rather than pushing through. Her quiet rebellion reframed royal identity. Titles no longer guaranteed sacrifice without question. This lesson resonated beyond palace walls, inspiring anyone facing overwhelming demands to recognize the power of self-care. Yet for the monarchy, embracing that lesson meant re-evaluating centuries of norms. The uncertainty about her return loomed large. If she came back, could the institution accommodate her terms? If she remained away, could it adapt, or would it fracture? What happens when the most beloved royal quietly walks away? The answer may change the monarchy forever. The crown remains, but without its quietest jewel, it trembles. In the aftermath of her withdrawal, ordinary conversations turned to doubt. If the person who bridged royalty and everyday life could step back, what purpose did the institution truly serve? Across social media and local cafes, people weighed tradition against relevance, questioning whether age-old ceremonies still mattered in a world that had seen one of its brightest figures claim personal limits over public duty. This collective unease exposed deeper uncertainty. A monarchy that once relied on stability now faced skepticism about its future without the warmth she embodied. Inside the family, attempts to fill the gap only highlighted how distinctive her role had been. Anne and Sophie assumed engagements once tied to Catherine's presence, addressing charities and appearing at events in her stead. Their dedication was genuine, yet each appearance underscored the missing connection she offered. An ease under scrutiny, an ability to make formal occasions feel personal. Protocol could assign tasks, but it could not replicate the simple empathy she showed. The contrast between earnest effort and the void it revealed underscored a central truth. Certain bonds cannot be replaced by duty alone. For William, the weight doubled. As heir apparent, he was expected to project unwavering continuity. As husband and father, he had to guard his family's well-being. Balancing official duties with private care became a daily struggle. Every smile he offered in public carried the memory of shared moments now paused, and every speech held the unspoken question of whether tradition should bow to personal need. In that tension lay a raw vulnerability, a leader wrestling with the demands of lineage while protecting the heart of his household. His burden embodied the broader conflict between institutional expectation and human limits. Meanwhile, Camilla's influence grew in quiet ways. Experienced in palace dynamics, she navigated responsibilities with practiced composure. Yet public sentiment often leaned toward Catherine's choice, viewing her decision to prioritize health and family as a courageous stand. That sympathy complicated the balance. Should the monarchy lean on established authority, or adapt to a model where setting personal boundaries became acceptable? This contrast fueled debates about leadership and legitimacy, exposing how empathy could challenge convention. The tension between enduring protocol and evolving expectations underscored a pivotal moment. Would the institution honor personal well-being or risk alienation by demanding unyielding service? Her legacy crystallized in these shifts. Through grace and restraint, she had shown that strength can mean stepping back rather than pushing through. Her quiet rebellion reframed royal identity. Titles no longer guaranteed sacrifice without question. This lesson resonated beyond palace walls, inspiring anyone facing overwhelming demands to recognize the power of self-care. Yet for the monarchy, embracing that lesson meant re-evaluating centuries of norms. The uncertainty about her return loomed large. If she came back, could the institution accommodate her terms? If she remained away, could it adapt, or would it fracture? What happens when the most beloved royal quietly walks away? The answer may change the monarchy forever. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we will see you in the next one.